Hey there! I just got back from Google I/O 2018. I had an awesome time and I want to share that experience with you. This was my first Google I/O and I have to say it was quite the experience. I didn't know what to expect at I/O, and I have to say that the scale of the event was overwhelming at times and also very energizing. I met with people from 6 continents, I believe. If you were from Antarctica and I missed you, I'm sorry, maybe next time. All of these experiences really added up to a very meaningful event for me. It's easy to find information online. If I wanted to go out and find the latest and greatest about Android, I could have waited 5 minutes until after the event and found everything I needed to know. But it's this in-person connection, the interacting with people, getting different perspectives on the world and on technology and how we view the merging of those two. All of that is, for me, what was really interesting and what I think really valuable from this event. I went into the week excited for the big announcements, thought maybe I would get my hands dirty with some code labs, some of the new tutorials, and a lot of that happened. But a week gone now, when I look back, it's not those big announcements, it's not the code labs, it's not any of the really big new features that gets me really excited. It's actually 2 phrases that I keep coming back to that are really my biggest takeaways. The first is make good things together. The second is build things that matter. The first of these was plastered all over the place. The second one, I honestly don't remember where it came from. I just had it in my notes written down, but I feel like they really work well together and kind of form the basis for what was my big takeaway from the event. Day 1 of I/O starts with the keynote, and this is where all the excitement for the rest of the week really comes from. This is where the big announcements are unveiled, the exciting new products, and some of the feature overviews. And so from that very first event, we started to see everything that would come about for the rest of the week. This is also where, for me, I started to see these themes of make good things together or build things that matter. Those ideas that these products and features that Google is unveiling actually are going to make an impact on people for better or worse. And it just made me start to think about what I work on and how does that impact those around me and what could I work on to impact others. Many of the people that I talked to were very heartfeltly working to build something meaningful for their companies, for their communities. I was inspired by those reminders of why I got into tech in the first place. It's to work with others, to build things that matter, to make good things together, and that, I think, was why I enjoyed I/O so much this year. So they weren't just people and the community interaction that was inspiring and reminded me of what we can actually accomplish with smart, conscious use of technology. But there was also sessions around this as well. And probably my favorite session of I/O was kind of how to use technology to change the world. Now, this was a pretty straightforward session. It was a panel on how technology can influence the communities or change the world, but really it was incredibly inspiring to hear these people who are all making a real difference in their respective fields. There's no big announcements, no flashy technology, just a group of people working to change the world for the better. The other part of the content of I/O that really struck me as a first timer was just how much access there was to these technologies and to the expertise behind them. If you had an idea about how to make an impact with a particular piece of technology, there were probably a number of ways to explore that at Google I/O. So was it worth it? If my big takeaway wasn't a large pile of notes on all of the latest and greatest products, tools, and libraries, and how to use them, was it really worth it for me to go to Google I/O, spend the time, money, and effort to travel, to attend all the sessions? Couldn't I have just live streamed the event at home in my comfy clothes on the couch and maybe gotten a better overall experience? Possibly. If you measure conference value by strictly the amount of actionable technical information that you bring home from the event, then I probably would have had a more valuable I/O by just sitting at home and live streaming all the sessions. However, that's not how I measure the value of an event like this. Like I said before, information is easy to find in this day and age. I haven't even caught up on the information and announcements from last year's Google I/O yet. So I'm not at a loss for things to dive into, learn, and apply to my daily work. But I made new connections with people all over the world. I got to see the impact that my work has on people's daily lives and what that means to them and why I take pride in what I do. I was able to see how people with different backgrounds interact or what problems they are facing in their local communities. I was able to step outside of my comfort zone and have discussions about things like diversity, inclusion, and social impact that I wouldn't have been able to have sitting on my couch. In other words, I think that I grew not only as an engineer, but as a person, and my excitement for what I do was recharged, and for me, that's invaluable. There's a lot to learn and to digest from this year's Google I/O. I'll include some links to some other videos here, and also include some links to some blog posts down below in the description. Feel free to comment and share what you thought were the biggest takeaways, most interesting announcements from this year's Google I/O. I'd love to hear what others are talking about and planning on diving into. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.